Hey guys, Frank the Pest Geek. I'm running around on Saturday. Had to drive to the mall, wait 20 minutes in line, pay $8 for a cup of coffee and a bottle of water because Dunkin' Donuts on a Saturday at 3:45 in the afternoon is closed because they can't find employees. I just finished a job, rode out to the cemetery to see if they had put my mother's plaque and everything. Well, a month later, still the plaque isn't there, and there's a sign at the entrance of a cemetery that they're now hiring, and there's a list of 15 things that they need of people they're hiring. They don't have, I had to wait a week, 10 days in Miami. I had to wait a week to get an appointment with the funeral home, and then to get an appointment with the cemetery, and it took 10 days to bury my mother. Um, it's tough out here, bro. It's crazy how businesses are not operating. I lost an employee. I had to go back in the field and run a route. I'm debating how I'm going to do this. I'm innovating in some new technology to lower the amount of labor I'm getting out of lawn, where we're not going to focus on growing the lawn business because it is too labor intensive. It takes too much labor, too much training, too much compared to GHP, where I can train a tech in 40 hours and he can be doing maintenance work, doing cleaning webs, doing perimeter treatment, doing ant services, and be totally productive in 40 hours of training or less than that. And then teach him how to do roach cleanouts, and then teach him how to do fly services, and start teaching little things. But 80% of the business can be done in 40 hours. Oh, you can't train anybody in 40 hours. He's going to be a crappy tech. No, he's not. If you have SOPs like I do, and you have a training program like I do, and you've developed it like I have, you can take the right person and train them in 40 hours to do basic maintenance route work. And in 30 days, he will learn how to do cleanouts and do them expertly, because we have a standard operating procedure for doing German roach jobs. We have a standard operating procedure for everything, and it's a step by step. And if you follow it, just like a franchise, just like you make that stupid sandwich where you take the burger, you flip it, and if you follow the system, you will have 96% success. The secret is finding people that can follow a system. Been following me online today on the thread. I've been stirring up the pot. Some people tell me you're stirring up the gumbo. Listen, I've smelled gumbo, and this doesn't smell like gumbo. Um, I'm stirring up the crap out of people because so many people are just so misguided about realities, and we're hung up in this issue of fairness. Let's talk about fairness for a minute. I was having a conversation about fairness, and I put an ad out that I put a post that I'm studying right now for the ACE. I spent this year on myself on training, on expert training. I spent over $3,000 so far this year on training, and I'm gonna go get my ACE. Hopefully, we'll have Paul Bello on shortly to talk about his new ACE training program, which I'm taking. He's going to be the proctor for the exam in October here in Florida. So if you're interested in taking your ACE exam, becoming an associate certified entomologist, I highly recommend you do it. I recommend you do it for you. Let me put this thing in park because I'm going to take my foot off the brake for a minute. I highly recommend you do this for you. Nobody's going to pay me for it. If that's your attitude in life, this is why you're not getting ahead. You're constantly thinking about, if I do this, pay me first and then I'll do it. No, the ACE, the people have the ACE, there's only like 1,400 across the world now that have the ACE certification. It's pretty elite. do it for you. I don't do anything because somebody's going to pay me. I pay for it first. I learn to do something, and then I figure out how it's marketable. A lot of you guys are thinking, I won't do this and I won't do that because nobody will pay me for it. Some of you guys are so bitter and angry in life in general, and you're not getting ahead. And let me tell you something. I'm going to kick you in the nuts right now. You get pissed off, angry, unsubscribe, write me a nasty letter. Do whatever you want. It doesn't change the fact. It's not going to change me. You're not going to motivate me. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I got nuts to steal. Okay? So a lot of you guys out there are pissed off, angry at the world, angry because you're not succeeding, because you don't have the drive that it takes to make it sometimes in the real world. Everything is unfair. It's not fair how I put in the hours and I work and this guy, and it's not fair, and this is not fair. And you sound like my 7-year-old. It's not fair. Let me tell you something about fair. Life isn't fair. There's no such thing as fairness in this world. Okay? It's not fair. Nothing is fair. Everything is about what you negotiate, what you can get, and about right and wrong. There's currently right and wrong, but there's no fair. There's no way to determine what's fair. What's a fair percentage to pay a technician? I will put out this answer and I will get 100 different answers. There's no fair. Is me taking a 45% cut giving you a 35% cut and not having the money I need to market and decide that I am not going to buy the house even though I'm making $2 million in revenue? I've got 10 technicians and I've worked my butt off for 20 years, and I'm not supposed to have the boat because what is my employee going to think that I bought a boat? If I got the car, if I got the house, if I got the ranch. The reality is you get in life what you get, and you get it because you worked your ass off for it. A lot of people sure have done illegal things and unhealthy things and unright things. What's fair? There's no fairness. There's no fair number of what you're going to pay somebody. It's competition. You got to learn the word competition. Stop thinking about what's fair. What's fair? It's just not fair. It's not fair. Nothing's fair. It's called competition. What somebody is worth is relative to what somebody else is already paying for it. In other words, if a CSR position, a customer service position, that requires you to make calls, call customers, handle customer complaints, make upsells, schedule customers, is paying X amount in a relative field, then if you offer 10% more and he's making $36,000 a year and you offer, let's say, another 10%, so you're up to 39, it's called competition. If I take your employee from you, why weren't you willing to pay that employee another $3,000 a year to keep him? Is it going to cost you another $8,000 to $36,000 to find and replace them? I poached him from you because I could. That's called competition. That's the way the real world works. If you weren't able to keep him, that's on you. If he didn't feel loyal to you, that's because that's life. There is no loyalty. You're going to do what's best for your family. You're going to take that job. You're going to take that higher pay. You're going to work for another company. You know what? You might switch companies and then you decide, dang, I wish I would have stayed where I was because this isn't what I was promised. Guess what? That's life. If you can't take chances, you can't risk, then you can't win. This is what we do as entrepreneurs every day of our lives. We took a gamble when everybody told us we were crazy. We went out and did it anyway and proved everybody wrong. Is it fair? Is it unfair that my employee left because he wanted an easier life? because somebody offered them $1.50 an hour more to go work in a warehouse? This is darn hard. Could I have paid him another $1.50 an hour and kept him? He didn't want to be out in the sun. I would have paid him another $1.50 an hour, and 6 months later, he would have been unhappy because you got to be out in the sun. You got to deal with the weather. You got to deal with traffic. You got to love plants. You got to love working in this environment. And no amount of money is going to keep the wrong person around. You give them the raise, they're happy, but then 6 months later, they're unhappy again. Because that's just the way it is in life. People are unhappy about everything in their life. If you think a person is going to be loyal to their spouse and they're not, do you think they're going to be loyal to their boss? Let's be real, folks. Some of you guys are living in an illusion. At the end of the day, everything is about competition. If you can't compete for employees, then you can't compete. If you can't compete for customers, a customer will drop you because another company came in and offered $5 a month less for the service. Are you willing to drop your prices $5 to meet that demand, or are you going to stick to your guns? You got to make decisions like that all day long. It's not fair that we've given you great service and we've treated you right, and because this guy comes in and offers you $5 less a month, you're going to go with him. It's not fair. No, that's called competition. That's reality. Who determines what quality is? To determine price, to determine what you're going to charge, to determine your costs. Are your costs different as a three-man company than a guy who has 10? Yes, drastically different. There's a thing called synergy that you have to build up. And when you can afford 6% of marketing at $1 million is different than 6% of marketing when you're only making $250,000. You can compete more. Bigger in some cases is better. Some of you guys are technicians. You're not competitive. And you want to become business owners and you want to become entrepreneurs when you're really self-employed. The modern day entrepreneur is self-employed. That's what it used to be. When I was in my 20s and I wanted to be self-employed, people were like, "You're crazy. Why would you want to do that? You want to work for a large company and a pension and this and that." I wanted to be self-employed. I didn't want to work for anybody. Today, being self-employed means you get to wear 15 hats. Can you stomach it? Technicians by nature are not competitive. They're not competitive. They want stability. They want certainty. They don't like change. And business changes every day, and a lot of people can't stomach that. So you got to make decisions all the time. I mean, why couldn't they, if they would offer $16 an hour at Dunkin' Donuts, there's signs all over Miami. Right now, McDonald's is offering $12 an hour for overnight. $12. I just saw a big billboard. $12 an hour for overnight. Some of you are saying where you're at. Well, wow, $12. They're paying $16 here. It's all relative to what the market is. Now, the question is, do you pay $6.38 for a burger while I pay $5.39 here? I don't know. The costs are different. Real estate costs are higher. And they closed the store down because they couldn't have employees. It's that simple. So I ended up with $5 coffee because I got to have my coffee in the afternoon. Probably addicted to caffeine, which is my only addiction. That in business and working and testing stuff and breaking stuff. And I'm just addicted to testing and breaking stuff. So this idea of fairness and what you pay people. The reality is that an industry is going to pay. If you notice, the system is fixed. The system is fixed, folks. Why? Because a company can only charge in a marketplace relative to their competitors on regular services, on commodities. Pest control is a commodity. A pesticide is a commodity. The differentiator is going to be the culture in the company, the kind of people they hire, how they treat their employees, the customer service they give. That's the only differentiator. The service of pest control is a commodity. If I taught you my protocols, you could do exactly the same thing with exactly the same products. But do you have my attitude about it? Are you passionate like I am about being eco-friendly? See, I can teach you everything, but if you're going to go through the motions, you know, then it's no different. So what you got to do is, in a marketplace, you're only going to be able to charge so much compared to the competition, compared to what the market is willing to bear for that service. And when you tell your customer, well, this company is charging me $169, this company is $189, you're at $300. What am I getting for $300 that the competition isn't giving me? You know what, guys? I've answered that question for 10 years. Our standard initial service has been $355 to $455 for the last 10 years. Sold 20, I closed only 20 to 30% of the business, but it played the role that I wanted, which was high margins, low work. But we have a differentiator. We have a unique selling proposition. We're Nature Pest. We offer an eco-friendly pest control. This is all we do compared to my competition that says we'll spray your house with Centria. It's not the same. We don't spray houses with Centria. When somebody says, well, we'll do a natural service for you, it's not going to, and then you have the attitude, well, you got to understand, it's not going to produce the same result as bifenthrin is because there's no residual with natural, and you have a different attitude. There's no way you can sell it because you don't believe in it. I have a culture. And so we're able, so I only closed about 20% of the business. It allowed us high margins. It allowed us to devote a lot more time to the client. It allowed us to grow at a certain pace that we could manage it. It served our purpose. Now we're in the point where we need to grow more and we need to offer our services and be competitive and go head to head with our big competitors on pricing so that we can close not 20% of the business, but we can close 80% of the business because we're in a position we have to grow exponentially in order to compete. See, if I can't stomach that reality, I can't play the game. You want to show up on an NFL court. I'll call you back in a minute. You can't show up to an NFL court weighing 160 pounds and no experience and no expertise and say, I want to play in the NBA. That's you can't play in the NBA. You can't play in the NFL. You got to be able to say, can I stomach the routine? Can I stomach what I need to do? And a lot of you guys, because you rather not grow, because you're afraid, you don't want to deal with the employee headaches, you don't want to deal with all these problems, I'll just stay a solo operator. What are you getting? Well, the customer, you're getting me. You're always going to get me. You're always going to get me no matter what, until I have an accident, until I get sick, until I get tired of doing this for 7-8 years and I want to break. And now you can't, because you can't hire the secretary. You don't have enough money to hire. You're going to have to take a pay cut to hire. I had to take a pay cut to hire. That's a reality. And some of you guys can't stomach that. You think you're going to make $70,000, $80,000 and then hire a tech and then tell him you're going to pay him $15 an hour. Look, guys, I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. The difference is I'm having conversation with people who've never hired, and they're giving me to this business plan that they wrote up in a piece of paper in their mind. And it's like me having a conversation with my 7-year-old about having sex with women. You're a 7-year-old virgin. What do you know? You can listen, you can watch a YouTube video about it, about some guy telling you how to pick up women at a bar, and until you're old enough and you know enough and you've had the experience, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, kid. That's reality. You got to be competitive. You got to have a competitive streak inside you to want to go out there and kick somebody's ass all over the gridiron, and then at the end of the day, let's go have a beer. Understand, I'm your competitor. That's what I'm going to do. My job is to break through that line and basically give your quarterback a concussion and get him out of the game. That's life. That's reality. That's what we're doing in business. And therefore, so I drop my prices now to basically compete with everybody. Our prices are right in line with everybody else's in the market, yet we're offering more value, we're offering a superior service, we're offering an eco-friendly, devoted to that, and that's value. So now the perception of our service is that our service is too cheap. Great, but I know my numbers, I know where we're going, I know where I can make it profitable, and I'm focused on route density, because having route density is more important than price. That's a reality. That's something that you guys don't want to handle when you've got to drive 20 to 30 minutes. But if I can get route density and bring down my pricing and take it away from my competition, give you a better value, a better service, and I can still pay my technician more than what my competition is paying, I don't have to pay double. I don't have to pay 30%. I just got to get you to a better place where you're making what you want to make. I mean, some guys want to make 70,000 a year, and some guys want to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, but he can only do that for 5, 6 years. And then what? And then he can't stomach taking a pay cut. Then he's got 8 years of experience making 50,000. He's unemployable. That's a reality. That's not fair. I have 10 years of experience. I know so much. Yeah, but I can't pay you for what you know how to do. You're slower than that 25-year-old kid. He can still knock out the same amount of service. And now that 25-year-old kid wants to work 30-hour weeks. It's not fair. What is wrong with these people? They don't want to work. Nobody wants to work. Nobody has work ethic. That's life. What are you going to do? That's life. You've got now to figure out in the business world how you're going to create a 30-hour work week for that employee. Pay him the $16 an hour that he wants. And instead of, you forget about those days where that route was producing $250,000 a month. Now you're going to have 2 routes producing $150,000 a year. Commercial routes that would produce $300,000 are now going to produce $150,000 because you can't get people who have the hustle. They don't have hustle. They don't have work ethic. What are you going to do? You're going to adapt. That's what you're going to do. Now it's much harder to find an employee. I look, 2 years ago, I put an ad out. I got 700 applicants for one job. I was paying $16 an hour, 13 to start, and within 90 days, you were making $16 an hour. I got 700 applicants. I put an ad out for $20 to $24 an hour, and I still have zero. Zero! It's not fair! It's not right! That's life. What are you going to do? You're going to do what you have to do. You're not going to get a guy who's going to produce 15 to 20 stops a day, work 10-hour days, 6 days a week so he can make $50,000 No, he wants to have work-life balance. He wants to start at 8 in the morning and be home by 3 and put in 6-hour days, 4 to 5 days a week. Because 8 hours, who says you have to work 8-hour days if you can get it done in 6? You see, I'm a Generation X. I was working 50 hours a week by the time I was 22. I was going to college full time and I was married. But I'm an overachiever. I'm a Gen Xer. I'm not a millennial. Millennials, they're happy with 36-hour weeks. I'm talking to owners right now who's saying, man, I'm offering them overtime and they won't take it. They're making $20, $24 an hour overtime. They don't want it. They don't want 401k. I'm offering them 401k. They won't pay for the insurance. They don't want the insurance. They just want 30. They're going home like they're finishing up their route, and instead of calling the office and to get more hours, they're going home. They're happy with $36, 36 hours a week. They're making $16 an hour, and they're happy. These are 20 to 30 something, 20 something to 30 somethings. Guys, everything is changing. Things are changing. Nothing is the same. Forget about what you want. Forget about what you think. Forget about what you embrace. It's the marketplace that determines everything, and the marketplace includes employees. So what if I have to build 2 routes? I say you're going to work from 8 in the morning till 2, 3 o'clock. You're going to work 6 hours, and then I'm going to hire another guy from 4 to 8 or 9 to work nighttime and take care of customers at night. Because you're not going to get a guy who wants to work 10-hour days. It's going to be like it's like finding a purple unicorn with bedazzle on his whatever horn. you know, that's what you're asking for. You're asking for a purple unicorn. Why are you fighting and saying and just complaining about people don't want to work instead of adapting and saying, how do we change this thing up? How do we do it differently? Instead of paying people for offering them 401k and offering them health insurance, but you don't understand. They're going to need it one day. What you care about and what you embrace and what you want doesn't matter to them. You're not their father. You're not their grandfather. Why don't you just pay them and let them go on Robinhood and on Webull and invest their money in the stock market and on Bitcoin and let that be their retirement fund and let them figure it out on their own. Instead of paying for all this, why don't you just pay a high salary for people 20 something to 30 something and forget about all these benefits and all these things? Why can't you think outside the box? I hate that term outside the box, by the way. Why don't you just think differently? That's what we're dealing with, folks, in this real world. Nothing is fair. What is right for you and what is right for your generation isn't right for this generation. And the question is, are you market driven to where you're allowing the marketplace to decide how you run your business? And are you creating blue oceans and are you creating something new and something different and flex time? So what if you do offer, hey, why don't you work 8 hours a day, 4 days a week? And maybe you start offering Friday, Saturday, and Sunday services because I'm in a big city. I got people say, can you do it Saturday? Can you do it Sunday? I say, no, not right now. We don't do it. We're doing Monday to Friday. Because I'm not going to work Saturdays. I'm working Saturday right now. I'm working Saturdays recording classes. I'm working Saturdays working on my ACE. I'm working Saturdays. I'm working Sunday mornings. I work till noon on Sunday. I work every day. I'm creating content right now. I wake up on Sunday morning and I work out on next week's route till about noon. I wake up at 6 till about noon. I work fixing the route and working on next week. And, I'm going to be recording now. Tomorrow, hopefully, I'll be recording another godly business. Haven't been able to do it. I've been taking some time off for me, but I'm also working 6 to 8 to 10 hours in the field while I'm doing everything else too. While I'm going to my son's karate class. I got to be done by 2, 3 o'clock so I can pick him up at school, take him to karate. Then I take him to dinner, and then, we hang out at the pool. And, it's a balancing act. There's no life balance. People who want it like Monday through Friday, Monday to Thursday, and I don't want anything to happen to my program because I work Monday from 8 to 2 and I'm done. And don't ask me to come in and stay till 3. And don't ask me to come in on my day off. And if I feel sick that day, I'm going to take the day off. Because if I'm just not feeling it, I'm just feeling emotional. And I just woke up this morning and I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. I need my personal space today. I need to take a me day. I mean, working 30 hours a week is just too stressful. I need a me day. I need to have my Starbucks coffee and just meditate today and think about life and where my life is going. So I'm not going to work today, and I'll call it sick. Yeah, bro, that's real life. It's not fair. It's not right, but it's real life. This is Frank the Pest Geek, wishing you a spectacular day.